This is AI Jim Ross, and you're about to listen to Booking the Territory, the unprofessional wrestling podcast. This show is strictly for entertainment purposes only. Don't be a slapdick and get offended by anything on this show. And hey, slap nuts, if you do get offended, that's a you problem.
Hi, everybody. This is Jim Cornette, pro wrestling legend, and you're listening to the Booking the Territory unprofessional wrestling podcast.
This is the artist formerly known as Daryl Van Horn, James Mitchell, the Sinister Minister, and I'm here to let you know I would rather slam my cock in a car door than to miss the dulcet tones of Hard Body Harper, my illegitimate son, on Booking the Territory podcast.
Woo, Messi, this is professional wrestler Jimmy Valiant, the Boogie Woogie Man. Tell my people, my brothers and sisters, don't you dare miss Booking the Territory. Oh, yeah.
This is a one-man gang. You're listening to Booking the Territory Pro Wrestling Podcast.
Welcome back, everyone, to this week's episode of Booking the Territory, the unprofessional wrestling podcast, where today we're covering part 2 of our WCW Starrcade pay-per-view, which took place December the 28th of 92 at the Omni in Atlanta. If you're listening on YouTube, please subscribe to the channel and hit the like button on the video. It makes Harper very, very happy when you do both of those things. And lastly, type a comment or two of what you liked or didn't like about the episode. It does help the channel grow greatly, and the algorithms love those comments. Don't ask me why, but it simply does. Before I throw it to my wonderful co-hosts, I want to give a shout out to Disrespectfully Classy, Marky Blassie, Mike Childry, Joe Ice, and good old Justin for their generous support on Patreon each and every month. Thank you for your support. And to all the new patrons out there, this is being recorded several weeks in advance, so if you signed up recently, that's why I haven't given you a shout out. But you can also become a patron at tinyurl.com/PatreonBTT, where you not only get a shout out, but you get all sorts of 400 plus Patreon exclusive audio episodes. On that note, let me welcome in Harper and Mean Mike Crockett from the Wrestling Podcast About Nothing, since Doc is still suspended for the week. Crockett, how are you and your me time doing?
Yeah. I am. I'm enjoying this. I'm enjoying being here with you guys because I'm not with the other people in my life.
That's nice. I just checked my PayPal. Someone sent me $20. Was that you, Mike?
You're lying.
No. Mike Mills send you $20?
Hey, I've sent you money before. What are you talking about, Crockett? I've PayPal'd you money before.
That's
you
true.
You see how people are. You see, you know what?
Nice.
You know what? This is what I got for you.
What did I think of Mike Mills and Mike Crockett's review of Beach Blast 1992 and their criticism of me? First, who the fuck is Mike Crockett? I can't keep all these mics in order, but if he is anything like Mills, he deserves to be bitch slapped too. You know, that's the problem with this business. We have too many unqualified assholes like these guys critiquing decisions and booking. So yes, fuck Crockett and fuck Mills.
Yeah, take that, Crockett. Anyway, did you really get PayPal?
Yeah, because I haven't checked it in forever. Yeah, it's like, oh wait, it's this money is waiting for you, $20. Accept the money.
So that could be 4 different questions coming in for Ask Harper.
Is it that, or do they want a video from you?
I don't know. Like, there's no name. It just says money is waiting for you, $20. Accept the money.
Well, accept it, but
no. But how do I know who sent it?
Have you checked your email?
Check your email. Maybe somebody emailed you a video, one in a video.
All right, hold on.
We're holding.
All right.
I'm going to start shaking it in a second because the dribble's got to come off.
All right.
This is unreal.
What?
This guy.
I'm sorry.
This is what I'm talking about. How would I know that somebody PayPal'd him? He doesn't even know if somebody's PayPal'd him. Jesus.
Fuck. Never mind. I think it's got my old debit card in here.
Oh my God.
Oh wait,
great.
no, wait. All right.
Okay, we're on pins and needles, buddy.
Okay. There we go.
You got it?
Yeah.
What do you got?
I don't know. Hold on. It's my Gmail you sent it to, right, Mike?
I believe,
Well,
I think
yeah. It's
The
your Chris
Wildcat,
Harper's.
whatever the fuck.
Yeah,
doc-
that's
yeah.
it, right?
the PayPal's connected to your Yahoo, I think, and then he said to send
Yes.
questions to Gmail.
See, I don't see any.
Okay, so here's how we do this. If you've sent Harper $20 recently or in the last several months, I need y'all to email both him and me and tell us who you are. Chris Harper 16 Wildcat with a K at gmail.com and me BookingTheTerritory at gmail.com. Tell us who you are and tell us what your PayPal address was. That way we know who it came from.
Now, do we know it all came from one person, or is it like 4 people sending $5 each?
No, it's got to be one person, right?
Because it said, when I
Because
get
it
my
would say
PayPal,
$5, wouldn't it?
no, because if it says like money is waiting for you, that could be just the total money that you received.
Shit.
You might look somewhere else and see if you got
Come on,
4
Mike.
different.
Look, I don't see anything. I'm going back to May. Yeah, I don't see shit. I don't know. It could have just been old.
Just have a mysterious benefactor.
It could have been,
So, and you don't have an email with anybody's sending you anything?
No, because I'm looking through my Gmail now and I don't see. There's just the same old bullshit.
Well, I didn't send you 20.
LinkedIn and
dick pill
Amazon.
ads. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, I didn't send you $20, so we'll see if the people respond. And
Well, send me $20.
okay, there you go. Well, speaking of that, if you do want if you have questions, you do that and let me go to this quick clip. If you have questions for Harper, pay attention to these directions. Here it is.
Harper is crying broke after AI Bill Watts fined him $69,000 and banned the Coyote. And we keep hearing that you all want Harper to answer questions on the main show. Harper is ready to take your questions. Grab a pen and paper because here comes some directions. If you want your question or questions answered, first send Harper $5 per question to his PayPal at cc30388cc at yahoo.com. After you send Harper that sweet, sweet cheddar, email your question or questions to Chris Harper, 16 Wildcat at gmail.com. That's Wildcat with a K, and BookingTheTerritory at gmail.com. Also, make sure you state in your email what your name is and what your PayPal address is that you sent the money from. Remember, one question per $5. Kids, get your parents' permission before sending your cheddar and emailing your questions. Lastly, if you missed the PayPal or email addresses, check the show notes and description for the details.
All right. Thank you, AI Jim Ross. The people evidently know how to follow your directions, but Harper is not familiar with his email, nor is he familiar with his PayPal. But we'll get this straightened out. Rest assured, to figure out who sent them $20. Okay, Harper, you check your spam.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. I mean, I don't see shit, bro.
Okay, so if you've sent Harper $20 recently, I need you to email both of us so that we can figure out who it was, and make sure you state what your PayPal was so we can match it up to who PayPal Harper $20 to get their questions answered, and send the questions too. And there's that.
Yes.
All right. This was no. See, this.
No, I'm going to get them to mail me a check.
Dude, he sounds like an old man, but okay. Oh, great. All right. Well, now that we got that out of the way, anything that you want to get into, Crockett, before we get into part 2 of Starrcade?
So where's Doc? He's still banned, right? Bill Watts banned in the building.
If you remember, Watts was not very happy, and he suspended him for 2 weeks. This is his second week, and now, as Bill Watts said, we are stuck with Mike Crockett and his goddamn meat time.
Well, I'm happy to be here.
Yeah. So there is that. All right. On that note, let us get into part 2 of our Starrcade review. So we talked about it last week, but just a quick refresher. December 28th of 92, we're at the Omni in Atlanta. There is, a reported 8,000 people in attendance, and this is the 10th Starrcade overall for the promotion and the 8th Starrcade that we have reviewed. We finished off last week. We were talking about Rick Rude, who cut a promo. He came out and is very pissed off that some doctor or crooked doctor has said that he's injured and can't compete. And we also talked about last week how we were going to have Dr. Death Steve Williams versus Ron Simmons for the World Heavyweight title. And I got thoughts, but I don't want to blow my load here. So I'm going to go to you first, Crockett, regarding this match that I think we're all going to have some of the same thoughts on, but you first.
Yeah, just for people who didn't listen last week, you shouldn't, because everything on last week's show was terrible. The entire first half of this Starrcade was dog shit. So if you didn't listen, I mean, our show we did last week is more entertaining than the actual Starrcade, but things are starting to look up here on Starrcade 92 as we get into the WCW World title match. But yeah, like we said last week, Steve Williams kind of thrown in here because Rick Rude is out injured with his neck. So the match was a match. I mean, let's talk about the fact that they've built Battle Bowl to be this huge thing. You get this ring, and they'll get into it. They'll put it over even more later. They started off the show with Hank Aaron talking about the ring and giving the ring for Sting's win last year. And now there's the world title match, which is kind of really, it's kind of been second fiddle since Ron won it, where it's not really the pushed main event angle of the show, or Ron's title reign has been kind of a afterthought the entire time. So the fact that it doesn't really, in the end, he just kind of loses it and goes back to what he was doing. It's kind of a self-fulfilling prophecy. They didn't really give him a shot to carry per se, even though he has the world title. They didn't really give him a shot to actually be the man, because you got Sting and Vader doing stuff while he's the champion, and that's kind of the push thing. And Ron never really got a shot, and it's evident here where he's kind of in the middle of the show against a cold match against a guy who hasn't been around in a month.
You can blame Bill Watts for Ron not being given a fair shot once he got the title. You can credit Watts for giving him the title. You can blame Watts for not doing anything once he got the title. If you listen to that Legends of Wrestling that they did for Black History Month back in like 2010, I was talking to Michael Angel about this a couple weeks ago. I want to actually review that episode that's on the network, because Bill Watts at one point in that says, Ron was fired up and he was gold before he won the title, and then once he won the title, it kind of just fell flat. Well, yeah, you were booking him, you moron. Why? You don't blame him for your deficiencies, because I agree with you, Crockett. What have they really done with him since he won it? He had a feud with Barbarian. No, and I love Barbarian. Let's be real here. That ain't about Barbarian. But they put him in a feud with Barbarian, so he beats Vader, and then they kind of just go cold on him. They don't really do anything with him. And you want to blame him? It's not his fault that Rick Rude gets hurt, and now he's got to face a cold Dr. Death Steve Williams in this match. And don't even get me started on the finish of this match. I got thoughts on that when we get to it. Ron was done a complete disservice as the world champion, and anyone who thinks otherwise has not watched these episodes week by week in a long time to see what we've seen and what they've done to Ron Simmons as the world champion. And I put that square on Bill Watts, and that might be wrong, but as much as I give him credit for giving Ron the title, because I think it was the right thing to do, I give him no credit for once he put the title on Ron, he had no clue what he wanted to do with Ron as the world champion. And yeah, Harper, I'll go to you. Any thoughts on this match and Ron Simmons as champion so far?
I didn't mind this match. I just got done going through the emails.
Oh,
nothing.
God.
What we all talking about?
Okay, that's good. All right, you answered the question. If you're just watching the video version of this, we had a long discussion about Harper getting emails and questions, and somebody PayPal'd him, but we never got questions. So we're trying to figure out who's trying to either get their question answered or get a video from Harper.
You know what's gonna piss me off? For someone could be like, "Oh, well, that was me," and then it wasn't. It's like I found a $20 bill on the ground. They're like, "Oh, that was mine."
No. That's why I said they need to tell me.
I'm scared.
What the PayPal is that they sent it from, because if that doesn't match up with what you have in PayPal, then they're lying.
You know what's going to happen here?
Crockett deal with this shit.
You're just going to have to get into his PayPal, Mike, and figure this out, because
probably
I got to share my screen with you.
There you go.
Jesus Christ! I need to just give them my PayPal.
Yeah, do that.
That way they can send it to me, and then I just send it to him. That might be a better idea. We might have to do that going forward. We'll make an executive decision on the next week's show. All right. For now, back to Simmons and Dr. Death. Harper just said it was a fine match.
I thought it was. The football tackle spot was fucking cool. I like that.
Yeah, the one that they just did here. I really liked how it was at 119 even, Mike, but they were trading football tackles back and forth, and it ended when Simmons says, come at me, Dr. Death, and he leapfrogs him and then kind of nails him with the clothesline.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, usually in that position, the heel ends up being the one who makes the babyface look stupid, but in this scenario, the babyface looks like the smart one and strong, which is kind of how it's supposed to be.
Yeah,
I agree with you. That was a good analysis of it. The other note I had is they do kind of play nice for like 6 to 7 minutes of it, like for half the match, and then Dr. Death finally just pulls Simmons' hair, and Simmons doesn't like that too much, and out of nowhere they start slugging and throwing closed fists. I'm gonna go to that timestamp in a second. It's at 1:21:30. Did you have that at all written down? Like right there is when he pulls the hair, and then he's like, "All right, you done pissed me off now," and here's where the fists start flying. And I thought that was a nice way to play it, because I guess technically they're both baby faces, so you don't want Dr. Death to be like an outright heel, but the hair pull did it all, and then once the punches start coming in, they start flying from both of them.
No, yeah, it's well done. Very well done.
So after all that, Dr. Death does ground this match, and he keeps Simmons on the mat and doesn't allow Simmons to, do all the things that Simmons like to do with his power moves and whatnot. Let me go to you, Crockett. You got anything else before I go to the finish?
I mean, this is right before the finish, but at 1:30:50, there's a little snafu involving the post.
They're on the floor fighting.
They're on the floor slugging it out, yeah. And they're working up to like yeah. It's
like Dr. Death was supposed to move and Ron was supposed to hit the post, and then he comes back to it the second time and hits it. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
That must suck getting that shit stuck to him, dude. That they keep bringing up.
What's that?
What?
For the particle board.
Yeah.
Like sawdust or whatever the fuck.
Yeah, where the fuck that is? Because they got an ice rink underneath the floor.
Yeah, so they're getting and they got the particle board over it, and it's a mess.
Yeah, it's kind of, yeah.
I looked that team up.
What was it?
They were the Atlanta Knights.
Okay.
There was a minor league hockey team that was there till 96, and then they moved to Canada. And they were the somethings, and then in 98, the whole league went under.
So that was before Atlanta had the Thrashers then.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I knew that. I
I looked that league up. It had been around since like 1948.
Wow.
It's a minor league hockey league.
Wow. What league were the Brass in?
the East Coast Hockey League.
That's okay. I thought it's the ECHL.
Which
That's
is
right.
still around.
Yeah.
Well, it came back.
Brass.
Fuck.
Yeah, there was a team.
Oh, I see.
There
Yeah,
was a team
Brass,
called the New Orleans
they used to play the
Brass.
Bruins.
He wouldn't know. There was a New Orleans Brass. They played at the Municipal Auditorium, which is the house that JYD built for Mid-South Wrestling. So the Brass used to play there, and it's the wildest thing to think about that New Orleans had a minor league hockey team.
Dude, they had. I'll listen to the local sports radio. Monroe has one of those teams. And the guy was talking to someone on, and it's like, yeah, and I just got done talking with the governor about we're trying to get a NHL hockey team to New Orleans. I said, yeah, okay, have fun with that shit.
I heard that rumor a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
And there's no way in hell. New Orleans is not getting the NHL
even like John
team.
Forkay was on there. Even he was like, bruh, like we could barely support the Pelicans.
Right. Yeah, not happening. I just don't see it, but okay. Yeah, would it be cool? Sure, but no, I don't know. There's just not enough residents to support that. All right, so the finish of this thing, the reason I said I don't like it, Simmons is going to catch Dr. Death with a lariat after Dr. Death had hit him with a few tackles. They end up spilling to the outside, and they both get counted out. So it's a double count out. But then Nick Patrick runs in, and somehow he DQs Dr. Death.
Yeah,
and JR says,
"What the fuck was that, dude?"
JR says because Dr. Death came off the top rope. But that rule, in my eyes, is partially dead, except for when you drive your knee into the opponent from the top.
The match was over.
Right.
It's
done. Okay. Remember we were talking about how Ron wasn't done any favors by the booking as world champion? Why does Ron Simmons have to win via DQ in this match against a dude who hasn't been on TV in like a month? Just put your shoulders on the mat, Dr. Death, and take a pin. This man is the world champion. Why are we doing this finish? What are we protecting?
New Japan doesn't want me to lose, brother.
Bruh, this is dumb. This match was fine, but this finish was terrible.
Well, there is, as a referee on an extended hiatus, there is precedence for reversing the decision after the fact due to excessive violence.
But the problem is neither person won.
Right. It isn't exactly a reverse decision because, it's not like one guy won and then they switched it to the other guy winning. Neither of them won.
Stupid.
Yeah.
Right. It was already a double count out. Now, to be fair, the move that Dr. Death does off the top rope is technically in Bill Watch's mathematic quadratic equation for a DQ off the top rope because he drives his knee into the back of his neck and head area. So technically that was a DQ off the top rope. But like Crockett said,
the match is over.
Okay, I don't yell at me. I think I get all swollen up in the chest.
Disqualifying someone, it's like throwing a flag when all the players are already like fucking left the fucking field.
They're in the shower.
And then a referee throws Holden, number 42.
I don't disagree with you there.
It's fucking stupid.
Right. Like I said, match was fine. The finish is garbage.
Yeah, bro, for real, dude.
He's your world champion. Why is he not pinning Dr. Death in the middle of the ring clean?
But I'm sure they're going to follow this up, right, Mike?
No.
Right, they'll follow it up. Sure thing, Chief. Like Ron Simmons just has to be a really nice dude to not in the back go, wait, I'm the world champion. Why is this the finish? Oh, I know why. Because Dr. Death is a Bill Watts guy. And there's no other reason.
I really think Japanese politics might have something to do with it as well. At this time, like people didn't, they didn't want people to lose if they're under contract in Japan or whatnot.
It's trash. It's a trash finish for a guy who's not even been on TV. The last time we saw him was 4 weeks ago, maybe even longer on that personality profile. And now we see him versus the world champion in a double count out. Oh, yeah. He loses after the fact. It just
stupid. If that's the case where he couldn't do a job, then put someone else in there. You have Steve Austin sitting backstage, fucking twiddling his thumbs.
That's true. I was wondering that. Where the fuck's he been?
I did read something that he actually he was out of favor for a little bit with Bill Watts because he refused to do a job for Eric Watts.
Well, good for him.
Yeah.
For real.
So around this time, Austin was kind of out of favor because he refused to do a job for Eric.
Thank God somebody's got some brains in that organization during this time period. All right. Well, we'll continue after, once again, according to Bill Watts, Ron Simmons didn't have the fire that he had before he won the title, but then we just threw him into that crap and had to win via DQ after it was a double count out. So who booked that shit? Again. But we'll move on. I've beat that horse to death. Shane Douglas and Ricky Steamboat, who are the NWA and WCW World Tag Team Champions, are taking on Barry Windham and Brian Pillman, who've been put together recently. Let me go to you, Crockett, and get your thoughts. I think this might have been the longest match of the night. What are your thoughts on this one?
But before we get into that, though, have you guys done like a track-by-track review of Slam Jam, the album?
No.
If you haven't, you should.
Yeah, no. You forgot, Harper. Doc read through the list of the songs the first time they showed the Slam Jam logo and that it was for sale. And that was the first time you realized that it's not Steiner line, it's Steinerized.
Yeah.
I thought that for the longest time as well. Yeah.
It's Steiner line.
Well, Harper lost his marbles. He thought, he just found out Santa wasn't real that night.
Steiner line.
He was like, bro, you mean to tell me Harper's like, brah, you mean to tell me all these years it wasn't Steiner line?
Well, it should have been.
It should have been.
We did go through it, and then 2 weeks ago, we listened to a bit of Steamboat's Family Man song. And Harper lost his...
I listened to it on here when it comes out. I was like, it's that song. It's that fucking song.
The reason I bring it up is because this whole segment starts with Barry Windham's song, which is another fucking a chart topper. Get to Barry Windham. You guys really should get you, Doc, Harper, get together
and listen to
each track and just get your reactions.
That is a good idea. We couldn't put it on YouTube, but yeah. We might have to do that just to go through them.
Fucking dog shit.
Yeah. The Steamboat one, I read the lyrics 2 weeks ago, the show before you joined us on part 1, to Steamboats. And it is nauseating to read the lyrics of that, the Family Man. It astounds me, like the fact that is the song they did for this dude to make sure. Again, I'm speculating, but I swear to God they did that because of Bonnie.
Yeah, they're trying to pass a
Stop, Harper. What's wrong?
It's true.
God damn. You're going to get yourself canceled, man. I have no comment on what you just called that woman.
God,
although she... Yeah.
I feel bad for the little dragon.
Do you think Crockett will come out to that if he's coming to ref? It's like my
Family
man. Good family man.
I'd love
he
to.
He can't help it if he's from Boston.
That'd have been great.
You know, my favorite song on that album is the Johnny B. Bad song.
I bet it is. That explains everything.
What's that supposed to mean? No, because they never say what Johnny B. Bad's all about, what he who he's kind of impersonating, but in the song goes, "He's as pretty as a picture. He looks just like Little Richard."
Yeah, that's a good point.
That's a good point. Like they never exactly say it, but then in the song they're just like, "He looks just like Little Richard." Like, ugh.
Yeah, that's a good point, and even that's what Dusty said the first time he saw him. That kid right there look like Little Richard.
Yeah, I need to hear you guys go through every track on the album.
Yeah, there is some doozies on it, but the Family Man one is nauseating. I don't know how else to say it. It's just like, what the hell are we doing here?
It's like an SNL skit.
When you hear the Family, it's the beat, it's the words. You're like, are you serious? Oh. And then last week or 2 weeks ago, Harper's like, I mean, we do need more family men, but not just for the white meat baby face in pro wrestling. We need it for the real world. Oh my goodness. Okay. Well, on to the world title match, tag title match. Crockett, I did have a couple timestamps, but I go to you first. I have one at 1:45:45.
I think that's about where I am too. But early on, Jesse says that Shane Douglas's idol is Rush Limbaugh.
Yeah, I remember that. And he's right.
Yeah, no,
Ross
he said that a few times.
JR says, I like him too. And Jesse's like, you would.
Politics free zone here. But yeah, he, I think JR said that 2 weeks ago or maybe 3 weeks ago as well. So it's been a common theme that they are consistently bringing up Shane and Rush together.
That's going to get him over as a babyface in the South, I guess.
Yeah.
I guess.
I actually, back then, I don't think people were paying attention to politics in general. Like maybe older folks were, but like wrestling age people, I bet people just heard that and just didn't think nothing.
I was thinking about that. Like I was thinking like girls I used to date. I was like, I never knew what any of their political affiliation was. Never. Now, like there's no way you wouldn't know, or you couldn't.
Oh yeah,
ask.
dude, bro. But that's true, huh?
Back in the day, it was never a thought.
Back then, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nobody. I mean, I know we were young and we cared less about such things, but it also wasn't as polarizing back then. No. Whereas now, the minute you meet someone, they're gonna say something that you're gonna know. What
I bet he wears a red hat.
or you know, you'll get the opposite. Oh, you're
Oh, I bet she's got a fucking safe space.
Right, exactly. Like that, you're gonna get something that's gonna let you know what the person leans towards. You can't. That like when you meet people, you cannot. Except that Wildcat X-rated. I'm almost willing to guarantee 90% of the listeners will not say anything political.
No.
They just don't. It's all about let's drink, watch wrestling, and we're just going to have a good time. So, and that's coming up, Wildcat X-rated. Tickets are probably sold out by now, but if they're not, go to Wildcat Sports and Entertainment on Facebook. There's the link there. You can see if tickets are still available. I doubt they are, but hey, check it out. A bunch of BTT listeners are going to be there. But no, you're absolutely right, Crockett. I think part of it is we were younger and didn't care as much, but now it is a more polarizing time where you just can't miss it. I mean, it's just it is what it is. One of the main reasons why I say this is a politics free zone, because you will get political spin on every single YouTube channel, television show. You can't avoid it nowadays except for on BTT. So
yeah,
come on, dude.
And people say, oh, but you need to talk. No, I don't need to. You can get it anywhere else. I'm not interjecting that into the show. If you do hear a political comment, it's mostly a joke. That it's not like when Harper wanted to. You're wrong for what you did that time. When I had to edit something out and I was like, you can't say that. And you just started repeating like Beavis and Butthead, bump stock, bump stock, bump stock, bump stock, bump stock. You were being like really childish. Like we play around, but we don't talk about politics because you can listen to that everywhere else.
Well,
but it's hard sometimes.
DM Harper and let him know. DM Harper and let him know if like it's just because we're old men, or it's just that it's more prevalent these days.
No.
Yeah.
DM Luke Hawks on Facebook.
Yeah, he would love that. DM D-Man.
Oh no, don't do that to Darren. I gotta take off for
so
D-Man.
what do you think about Caesar from Planet of the Apes? You think he was a Republican or a Democrat?
Oh my God.
Was he more Ronald Reagan or Bill Clinton to you?
Somebody, here's what I always say. Somebody always works themselves into a shoot whenever Harper makes or Doc makes a political joke. It's inevitable. The comment will be made on the YouTube channel. Somebody will DM the show. Somebody will DM on Twitter. And I'm just like, oh my God, it was a joke. I don't need your political opinion. I told you, and I told it a few weeks ago, the one I always get is we were wrong to laugh at JYD and Michael Hayes with the, oh no, I don't want a Toyota. When Dog said, now you see how it feels when somebody try to buy you. All right, back to the match. Wyndham throws Douglas to the outside right around here where I'm at, and Douglas hits the railing. And then Ricky Steamboat, the family man, there's Douglas hitting the railing, throws the worst chair shot to Barry to get him off of Douglas. Watch this chair shot. I'm thinking to myself, what are we doing here? Watch how soft this is.
Shit,
Come
they got
on.
worse ones than that. Did you see the Hogan ones?
Oh, the Hogan was the worst. Hogan was the worst.
I think that was like one of those padded chairs.
It was, which is even more reason why. Just hit him. It's padded. He's not even going to feel the rails of it.
I had a feeling with that the referee, he was hoping that the referee was going to stop him, and then he didn't. So he's like, I guess I got to hit him.
Yeah, he kind of half-assed it. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, you get caught in no man's land. That does happen.
Yeah, and you talked about Shane's bump to the floor. What about Pillman's bump to the floor at 145.38, where he goes throat first into the barricade? It looked tremendous.
Yeah, here it is. There it goes right here. Douglas is going to hit him, and then doesn't he drop kick him?
Yeah.
And then Pillman, bam.
That looked
he
great.
hit it. It did. He hit that
too
son of a
good.
gun. Yeah, man. He's laid out. I love Pillman. Pillman can sell, man. He's great. All right. What else you got, Crockett, as we're working toward these four were going at it, and the crowd was into this.
Yeah, Shane Douglas took the heat after that bump to the floor, I think, and there was some just great shit as Shane was fighting for the tag. They cut the ring in half, and a number of times Shane going for the tag, and they were able to get him back. And so when the hot tag came, it was the hottest of hot tags.
Yeah, I was going to say that. Shane, he takes the heat after that big bump, and the people are behind him, and he's taking an ass whipping like a babyface should do, and he's bumping like a champ. I mean, the people are really behind him. And then he makes that first hot tag, because that's how they did this when there was two hot tags. He hot tags a Steamboat, and Steamboat comes in, and he's on fire, and the fans are behind him, and this is really well done. And, Wyndham puts an end to Steamboat's rally when he power slams him. It looked great. And then he belly-to-belly suplexes him. But really good stuff. So you got the first hot tag, and then we're going to get a second one from Steamboat once he's taking the heat. And I thought, I love when they change it up where there's just not one hot tag, there's two. Because, a lot of times you get that formula where it's one hot tag and you're like, oh, boy, we know the finish is coming. But, nah, you switch it up, you get two hot tags, and it ends up even working out that much better. You know what I mean, Crockett?
This match, this is in the contendership for the match of the night.
Definitely. So, anybody, are you ready to work towards the finish here?
Yeah.
So Steamboat takes a face bump or face bumps Wyndham, and Douglas ends up coming in, and Douglas again is on fire. So we end up getting all four guys into the ring on the second hot tag that Steamboat falls into, which I love that. From there, Wyndham and Steamboat are going to end up going flying over the top rope on the ramp. So they're on the ramp side. Meanwhile, in the ring, Douglas is going to catch Pillman with a belly-to-belly. And Douglas clean pins Pillman in the ring, 1, 2, 3. And my final note on this thing was, this was a fantastic tag match. Crockett, your thoughts?
Yeah, agreed. I mean, after those 4 random tag matches we saw earlier in the night, this was like a good palate cleanser. This match was tremendous. Like I said, probably the match of the night. Then the next match is in the running as well, but it was a tremendous match. Great heat. Crowd was there for it. Loved it.
Your thoughts, Harper?
This was great, man. I was so glad to see this. It was like, I was like, okay, now I got something to watch here.
For real.
This is great when Harper actually watches the show.
Yeah, because I was like doing shit like on the computer, kind of halfway looking. And this made me like pause it and go back to the beginning and actually sit and start watching it.
There is something to when you, this is going to sound really bad, but the first half of this show was so, it wasn't bad. It just was like nothing happening.
No.
Like there's a difference between bad and nothing happening. It wasn't bad. It just was nothing was happening. And like you didn't have a ton of botches. It just wasn't that. It just was nothing happening. You get that. And then you end up getting this where it's like, oh, now we got some action. And that match is, yeah, I'm with you. Match of the night so far. Match of the night. Well, we'll continue. We go to Sting taking on Big Van Vader, who's got Harley Race with him. This is what we've been talking about for weeks. The King of Cable Tournament Final. I think this might have been our second longest match of the night so far. And I will say this. We get a recap of the feud between these two, which again, there's been some very bad blood. Vader is the man who took the world title from Sting. So here they're not going for the title, but they're going for the King of Cable title, I guess you can call it, in the trophy. And this match is full of big moves and impact spots. The crowd is going nuts during this thing, which I gotta say, these two have the best matches that we see.
Yeah, dude.
These two, they know how to get in there and beat the shit out of each other without doing much besides beating the shit out of each other. Harper, your thoughts?
This was badass, dude. This was a great fucking match.
It's incredible what they do together.
Yeah, dude, this match was fucking awesome.
They look, I think, okay, right there. He just tosses Sting like a rag doll.
Yeah.
Sting is 6'2", 250 pounds. Vader throws him like a baseball across a baseball diamond.
I tell you, both guys brought their fucking A game, bro.
Yeah, they did. And Doc hates Sting, but goddamn, he's gonna miss the fact that he missed this match.
Yes, Sting gets it right back to it, and Sting, like Vader, bumps around like a fucking light heavyweight for Sting as well at some point.
So right there, I totally agree. We see Vader pressing Sting and just, again, tossing him like he's a 20-ounce bottle of water and nothing. I'm going to go to another one at 205.25. Sting catches Vader a couple times with a couple of kicks, and then he hits him with a German. The crowd reaction, let me just play the audio. Just listen to this.
That was a great martial arts move by Sting.
He got the big man off his feet.
Caught him again, and Vader down. He caught him right in the face with his foot, and Sting takes the big man down on 2 consecutive offensive moves. Waist
German
lock.
suplex.
Oh, boom! A suplex. Sting.
And the crowd is going wild.
Got him the clothesline. More momentum from the ropes, and they both go on.
That's the crowd the whole time. Just listen. Yeah, it's incredible, man.
Yeah.
And that's them the whole match. Like it's one big bump, big move after another. They're not running around. They're just power moving each other, and it's incredible. like, then I didn't even have that timestamp. He does the freaking dive over the top rope to the outside, and the crowd still lose. These people did not have a chance to come down because they were just constantly at a fever pitch.
Yeah, this was good shit.
And these ain't this is the thing about this. They're not cruiserweights. These are big heavyweights doing this thing. Oh. Let me go to another one. 207.25. Vader with a big boot to the face of Sting right up here coming up. Look at this. Well, that's after an arm drag. And then Vader's like, nah, bro. Sting goes into the corner. Bloop.
Yeah.
Just one thing after another. I'm going to go forward a little more. Crockett, stop me if you have something that I'm missing. But we get Sting has Vader on it. I'm playing it. Listen to this.
Physically can be done.
Sting had Vader on the top rope, suplexes Vader off the top, although Vader's feet are on the second. And then shortly after, he puts Vader in a Scorpion Deathlock, but Vader grabs the ropes and gets free. And then Sting makes a mistake on the floor going after Vader, but collides with the barricade. But once again, crowd going nuts as he's putting this Scorpion Deathlock in. Crockett, any thoughts?
I mean, yeah, just fantastic. You can't disagree with the crowd. You just listen to the people. The match is fantastic. They're both working their asses off, and this is, they've already worked once, so it's fantastic. And I like the later in the match they kind of refer to the fact that Sting is looking to have Vader punch himself out. So there's a portion of the match, so I think it's right about here where he just letting Vader tee off on him, and then Vader starts to kind of sell exhaustion, and that's kind of how Sting starts to make a bit of a comeback. So I really like the story they told. Yeah, that's kind of the story they told.
You ain't so bad. You ain't so bad.
Yeah, that's exactly what this was. When Clubber Lang is just teeing off on Rocky, and he's like, you ain't so bad. He's punching him out. But Jim Ross even alluded to it. He said if this was a boxing match, it would be over because Vader is clobbering Sting at that point. Like, he's just teeing off on him. And we saw it right there. He's just clubbing him. I mean, just clubbing him. It's funny because I've heard Sting talk about matches that he's had with Vader. And he says that he told Vader, like, during this time period, he's like, Leon, you don't have to hit me that hard. I'll sell. Because I mean, like, Vader would throw those forearms and those fists in the corner, and I mean, he wasn't like 100% throwing a shoot punch and clobbering, but I mean, you could see he ain't holding back. So yeah, here's another timestamp. It's 2:15:50. Vader has Sting on the top rope, but Sting fights out and Vader bumps. And then Sting starts, this is the point you were talking about right after that. Sting starts begging for Vader to throw blows, and Vader does appear to be slowing down in the example that Harper just gave, where it's like it's Clubber Lang in Rocky 3 where he's punching himself out as we get the double bump right there. But this was great. I mean, I don't want to sound like Tony Khan. Everything's great. This is great, but this was really good stuff. Any thoughts before I go to the finish?
No, I mean, we haven't said, if you go back to last week, we haven't said everything is great on Starrcade, but yeah, these last two matches have been pretty awesome.
It's ridiculous, like how good this match is. And they've done this before. They've had, when he beat Sting for the title, it was the same thing. Like, it was just a hell of a match. This is kind of not for the title. It's for the King of Cable title, but not world title. But even here, they are just beating the hell out of each other, and it's perfect. I don't know why the video froze up. It keeps there it is. So the finish. Vader hits a splash off the top, but then he goes for a second one. But Sting gets up and catches Vader coming off the top rope and slams him right here. Incredible. And Sting pins Vader. And I'm going to repeat again. Look at the crowd. These two have fantastic, great matches when they work each other. The Great American Bash pay-per-view match that they had was great. This was great. Sting is the King of Cable champion. Great, great match. Jesse awards Sting the King of Cable trophy. Look, we made fun of the King of Cable title in terms of the name of the tournament, but I tell you what, the final was everything it needed to be with these two. Closing thoughts, Crockett, on the match?
No, yeah, you said it. It's a fantastic match. And then we go from here to Battle Royal. Anyway, no, it was fantastic. One other thing, we talked about the match. One other thing, have you guys talked about Do-Rag Vader?
No, but I was wondering, why is he wearing it?
Yeah,
yeah.
Do-Rag Vader, tremendous. Do you prefer Do-Rag Vader or Do-Rag Vince? Which is better?
Do-Rag Vader.
Yeah.
Vince is
a little less racist, I guess.
With all the stories coming out about
shoulder pads, man.
You saying you miss shoulder pad Vader?
Yeah, dude.
The headgear was pretty awesome too, but if you're gonna ask me what I thought about Do-Rag Vader, Do-Rag Vader looked pretty awesome back in the day.
Yeah, fantastic.
I have to say. All right, well. Again, they present the trophy to Sting, and it's the King of Cable trophy, which is a pretty nice looking trophy. And I'm telling you, man, I can't say it enough. Those two have the best matches. From there, Larry Zbyszko and Tony talk about Battle Bowl, since this is the last match before we wrap up the show. And Shivani says I hated this part. I know Harper hated this part too. Shivani says,
Ringmaker, dude.
Yes. Shivani says, I talked to Paul Hornick, the Packers star. And they throw to an interview with Paul Hornick. Hornick talks about playing for a championship and being a champion. And he finishes it off saying, as far as the Battle Bowl ring, that would signify the number one man in the business. And I'm thinking to myself, who wrote that line for him? Because there's no way he came up with that. Because the number one man in the business is the world champion, not the king of Battle Bowl.
Come on, man.
Man, this is a ridiculous segment.
I thought it was the King of Cable.
There's so many top prizes here in WCW that you can't keep them straight.
You think Sting still has that trophy?
I bet you Conrad has it, actually. No, I'm not trying to be funny. He's just got a lot of stuff. I'm really not trying to be mean. Like, man, there's no heat with Conrad in this show. I know a lot of people don't like Conrad. That's their business, not mine. But I bet you Conrad, if he don't have it, he knows who has it.
Yeah.
And we have a collector who listens to the show, Jeff Jewett. Maybe he's got it. He's got tons of stuff. My God, I don't know. Jeff, if you're listening and you know who's got the King of Cable trophy, I want to know. I'm curious. But yeah, who knows? But this, Harper, what did you think about this interview with Paul Hornick and Tony Schiavone?
This is meaningless. It's like they had too much time, so they're like, okay, throw this up there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it grinded the show to a halt. It's like put this earlier in the night, put this between like two of the tag matches, but right at the very end as you're trying to wrap this thing up, that was it's not placed well in the show. There's no, if it should be played at all, it should have been played earlier because it's pretty useless segment.
Yeah. And the biggest problem is it makes no sense even if you put it earlier in the show, in my opinion. Saying that whoever wins the Battle Bowl ring would be the number one man in the business is like, well, what did we just watch?
Besides the ring.
You win the ring.
That's it?
Yeah. No cash prize.
Just no number one contender or
Well, didn't they wait, hold on. Last year they went back and forth. I think it ended up being Sting would get I don't even remember.
Wasn't it a title match or something?
Yeah, I thought that's what they said, but I've watched so much old wrestling, I oftentimes confuse myself, so I don't want to say what it was 100%. Maybe Crockett will do some research while I'm getting ready to get into this Battle Bowl match. So let's go to Battle Bowl.
DMD man and ask him.
Oh, geez. I love D-Man. I don't know if I told this on the show a few weeks ago, but he did message me. He goes, bro, for only being on the show a few times, you guys sure got a lot to say about me on the Facebook page. On the Facebook group, I'm like, what can I say, man? You're a polarizing figure, man. They either love you or hate you. Anyway, D-Man, good dude. Let's go to Battle Bowl. So Sting and Vader, who had just had a hell of a match, are in this thing. And I'm going to rewind here. So Sting's coming down the ramp, and Vader ain't waiting. He attacks Sting on the ramp, just clobbers him and just spears him on the ramp. The other people in this match are Wyndham, Van Hammer, Spivey, Dr. Death, Muta, and Dustin Rhodes. I'm not going to go through all the eliminations, but Van Hammer was first. Crockett, because I kind of hate Battle Bowl, let me throw to you to see if you got anything from this before I kind of recap what goes down here.
Yeah, I mean, to end a show like that after these two great matches with the Battle Royal, just maybe they should have just put this earlier in the night and ended with the King of Cable match, or hey, here's a novel concept, the world title match. But I mean, not happening. But anyway, this was it's a Battle Royal. What are you gonna do? At one point, like we're seeing it here, they tried to do like a split screen and show like 3 camera angles at once, and it was just complete overstimulation. I didn't know where to look. It's like, and then like it went away after like 2 minutes. They were like, "Yeah, that's not working."
Yeah, Harper, any
shit, dude?
Any thoughts on this, Harper?
No.
Oh, I do have a timestamp at 1:29:26. What does Van Hammer do here? What is this?
I'm assuming you mean 2:29:26.
That's what I mean. Yes.
Yeah. Well, he's on the ropes.
It's another minute away. 2:29.
Oh, 2:29. I'm sorry. I can't add well.
That's fine.
Carry the one.
I understand. It's New Orleans school system.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Dumbass.
Look at what he does here.
Eye rake?
Yeah.
It's like he's trying to do that like head snap thing you see in the movies. Like he's trying to like
like
break
the
his neck.
Steven Seagal shit.
Yeah. I'm with you. We just had a barn burner with Sting and Vader, and now we get this.
Yeah, now we get this shit.
Even the world title tag match for the WCW and NWA World Tag Team titles with Barry and Pillman and Steamboat and Douglas, that was great.
Yeah, that was badass.
Yeah, we get this. So, all right. Well, let's go through. So, again, I'm not going to do all the eliminations, but Van Hammer eventually goes out first, and then we get Spivey who goes out second.
Can we talk about that before we move on?
Sure.
Can we talk about the eliminations onto the ramp?
Yeah.
It just doesn't look right. I understand like it's outside the ring, but to be eliminated onto the ramp, it just doesn't. It doesn't look like an elimination. But I don't know what. I think they should have just avoided that altogether and just do all the eliminations on the other 3 sides, because Spivey was eliminated on basically over the top rope onto that ramp, and they said that Jim Ross is like, I don't think he's eliminated, and they were like, oh, the ref says he's eliminated, so. That's it. It just doesn't look right because he's level with the ring, but just on the outside. And
yeah, he just he just falls over.
Yeah, 232-35 is the elimination.
Yeah, that's it's like they didn't know that was going to be the rule.
Right. What other
like
rules?
Yeah, JR's thinking, well, over the top, but you got to hit the floor, not over the top onto the ramp.
Yeah, and I think that's what Gary Michael Capetta said. It's just over the ropes and hit the floor.
Yeah,
but he doesn't hit the floor.
That makes sense. There goes Spivey, and he's literally on the apron, then on the ramp, and the ref's like, "No, yeah." Nick Patrick's like, "No, you're done," even though he didn't hit the floor. Yeah, that doesn't look good.
Yeah, but even you can kind of rationalize in your head, like otherwise everyone could just jump out and go on the ramp and do whatever the hell they wanted. So I guess it has to be an elimination, but I would have avoided that side altogether and just 2 eliminations on the other 3 sides.
Even more reason why people hate ramps, because like Harper always talks about, if you got a ramp there and you're managing somebody, you can't move around the ring the way you want.
It cuts you off.
It cuts you off. It to me, it looks cool in terms of wrestlers coming to the ring, but once the wrestlers are there, it's like, oh, this ramp is stupid.
I always liked it, and there's some interesting things you can do with it, but I mean, in this case, it's just makes things confusing.
No disagreement from me. All right, well, let's go through this. So Van Hammer was first, Spivey was second, right 2 guys out first there. They should have never been in this thing, to be honest.
No.
Vader takes himself and Sting out
onto the ramp.
When Vader dives at Sting and they go flying over the top rope onto the ramp, and I think eventually they both do stumble onto the floor. From there, Muta and Barry are left as the last 2 at some point because Dr. Death and Dustin end up being eliminated. So let me get fast forward and I'll get us to the finish because they do someone right here, if you ask me. So here it is. Barry's working over Muta, and then I guess he goes to throw Muta out. Muta skins the cat, and then Muta hits Barry with a drop kick and then a second drop kick, and Barry goes flying over the top rope. And the great Muta wins the match.
Look at the crowd.
They like Muta, man. Like Doc asked a few weeks ago, could he be a babyface? I'm like, yeah. Look at them right here. This doesn't make up for the injustice that they did him a few years ago at Starrcade at Future Shock when they jobbed him out for no apparent reason. But man, I got no problem with Muta winning this thing because after the way they did him, he deserved the win. And that's how it is.
There's a lot of with the Japanese talent, a lot of wrongs on this evening, but this one was actually done right.
It makes me wonder because I don't remember listening to a shoot interview where they talked about this, but I'm like, wonder if somebody in the back was like, remember when we did this guy completely wrong a few years back? Can we just throw him, a good some goodness here and just say, hey, you're going to win this thing, Muta, after what we did you. I don't know. Conspiracy theory in me says somebody said that, but who knows? May not be true. And that's how Starrcade wraps up. So a word from AI Jim Ross before we rate it and hand out the Rolex and Toot Toot Award. Here that is.
It's almost time to rate this show and hand out the Rolex or Toot Toot Award. Before the fellas do that, don't forget to become a BTT Patreon member by going to tinyurl.com/PatreonBTT. When you sign up, you'll get tons of extra shows. There are 400 plus Patreon shows, including video versions of the main shows, the world-class shows with Lance and Mike, the NWA Legacy cast with Sparks and the Lil Fella Half Pint, and the ECW shows with Mike Prue, Rick Beebe, and JV. Don't sleep on the JV Goon Squad. Those guys are great, too. Additionally, Mike and Doc have covered many episodes of Dark Side of the Ring and Tales from the Territories on Vice. You'll also get reviews of all of the Clash of the Champions specials up until where the guys are currently at, and all of the WCW pay-per-views as well through this current time period. All of that and much more for just a few bucks a month. Don't wait. Sign up now and get all of that sweet extra audio gold from the best damn Outlaw Mud Show podcast on the planet.
There you go. Listen to AI Jim Ross, who's not really Jim Ross for obvious purposes there.
Yeah.
We need to rate it, hand out the Toot Toot Award. You're filling in from Doc since he's been suspended, Crockett. We're going to rate it first. What do you rate Starrcade 92?
Well, I think it's the tale of two shows. The first half and the second half. I mean, if I could, I'd give the first half a D- and the second half an A-. But I guess if I average those together, I could do some math here. What would that be? Would that be B-, I guess, or no? C plus. What would it be? I guess I'll give it a
What's
B
that?
minus.
Yeah.
Harper?
I'll give this a solid B because, I mean, they got the ending right.
This is another one of those ones where I get torn because there was a lot of crap at the beginning for that first hour. But boy, once we got past those lethal lottery tag matches and how they did Ron Simmons wrong, man, we got some gold. Like there were like that tag match and then that Vader and Sting match. That's wrestling, man. Like that's how you do it back in the day. So a part of me wanted to give it a A minus, but then I'd be like, but I also have to take into account how bad that first part was. So I'm gonna give it a B plus. I thought, and it's a B plus strictly on the strength of that tag match and Vader and Sting, because they literally brought this card up in a great manner. Like if not for them, boy, we would have been looking at what we did last year with this. So, yeah, I'm going to go B+, which then brings us to the Toot Toot Award. You can, let me remind you, Crockett, can give the Toot Toot Award or Rolex to a match as well as a person. So keep that in mind as you hand out your Toot Toot Award. Who's getting it from you?
Well, shit, I guess it's between those two matches. I think I'll give it to the tag match, which is Steamboat and Douglas versus Wyndham and Pillman. Very well put together, very well done, great crowd heat after, a fucking awful first half of the show. It really kind of brought the crowd to life.
All right, fair enough. Harper, who you giving yours to?
I'll give mine to Sting, man. He had that great match, and then he had to wrestle again after that.
He had to wrestle 3 times.
That's right. Yeah, I forgot that 3 times.
That's why when you
by this part, bro.
Right, the makeup's gone. The makeup was gone in the match with Vader.
Yeah,
but, yeah,
he definitely gets the Toot Toot.
I got to give it to Vader, and I got to give it to that match. Dude, I can watch. Here's what's crazy: they're gonna have a match at Super Brawl 3 that I think you would watch that and go, "All right, this was just as good as all the other ones they've had." Because they're going to beat the piss out of each other, and Vader's going to bleed a gusher. It's, spoiler alert, I won't tell you who wins, but it's phenomenal. And, man, the lead up to it and the White Castle of Fear and some of the vignettes and video packages they do are the worst thing ever. But the actual match was phenomenal. So, there we go. All right, well, on that particular note, that just about wraps up this week's show covering Starrcade Part 2. Just a quick reminder, again, if you're listening to this on YouTube, make sure you like the video, make sure you leave a comment, make sure you subscribe to the channel. The comments especially, those algorithms like that sort of thing, and it makes Harper very, very happy. And if you want to know how Harper can answer your questions, if you do have questions for him for the show to answer on the free feed, just check the show description and show notes. You will see clear directions that we already played from AI Jim Ross earlier in the episode about how Harper would answer your questions. Crockett, any thoughts before I guess we send you off into the sunset for when you'll be back whenever we get around to doing the UWF Blackjack Brawl? Any closing thoughts on what's going on with you and the WPAN that's still on an extended hiatus?
Yeah, maybe I'll have a news on that at some point. But yeah, I'm just happy to fill in here. This is my me time, and I really enjoyed it. The highlight of my week.
Oh.
And I just want to give you, Mike, and you, Harper, your flowers. You do a great job each and every week, and Doc as well.
Boy, AI Bill Watts is going to cut a promo on you next week about talking about giving somebody their flowers.
I like to think I brought that to the show because I was the first person I said that you deserve to give Tom Zank Z-Man his flowers. And from there, it just became a phenomenon in BTT.
It was being talked about before that because Doc was trying to get me riled up. And then you made it worse because I think you heard something on an episode and you came in talking about flowers and Z-Man and his flowers. And yeah, no thanks. I'll pass on the flowers. But I look forward to hearing what's going on with the WPAN. Again, on Patreon, Crockett and I have done the UWF Beach Brawl. We are planning on doing at some point, hopefully soon, the UWF Blackjack Brawl, which wasn't a pay-per-view. It was a card that UWF held in Las Vegas at the MGM Grand, wasn't it, right, Crockett?
Yes,
and
yes.
So we're planning on reviewing that. It's a 3-hour show that we do have the copy of it. Shout out to Richard Land for that. And we are going to review that at some point on Patreon. We hopefully within the next 30 days or so, we'll get that done. But I look forward to doing that after we've done some other UWF stuff. So look forward to that, along with the clashes and the WCW pay-per-views and the Dark Side of the Ring reviews and all the stuff that's available on Patreon at tinyurl.com/PatreonBTT. Crockett, any other thoughts before I throw it to Harper to hit the tagline and get us out of here?
No, man. See you later.
All right, Harper, let's hit that tagline. Let's roll them right off into the sunset.
Book it, biatch.
Congratulations on making it to the end of this week's show. Don't forget to send your comments about what the guys discussed tonight to Luke Hawks on Facebook and on Twitter or X or whatever the piss they call it now. The rumor is Luke likes answering BTT fan mail. Also, do the guys a solid by liking the show's Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram pages. And don't forget to like and retweet or repost the show on all social media platforms. Lastly, become a BTT patron member where you get tons of extra shows. You can join at tinyurl.com/BTT Patreon. Until next week, so long, everybody.